Hello, welcome to the Garden Gurus. I'm Trevor Cochran. We have got another brilliant program for you, packed full of down-to-earth gardening inspiration and advice. Here's what's coming up on today's show. Sue has the tips for the best tasting citrus on the street. And I'll show you how indoor plants can significantly aid your health.
Dig, 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 digging around. Dig, 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 digging the ground. I got my spade, I got my hoe, I got my rake, and I'm ready to go.
I've been answering talkback gardening questions for 26 years, and you can imagine how many lemon tree questions get asked. I never get sick of it. I can say I am the lemon tree's biggest ally. I absolutely love them. I think every backyard needs a lemon tree. And it's not until you haven't got one, you realise what you're missing out on. There are over 100 varieties of lemons worldwide, and only a handful are commonly grown in Australia. The Eureka is the most common, one of the favourite lemons. It's bitter and sharp, very similar to the Lisbon. Now the Eureka, it made its way to Australia from California, and it actually started as Sicilian seed. Now this tree, you can guarantee a lemon nearly all year round. The Maya variety for the home gardener is milder and juicy and is a great winter fruit. The Maya is thought to be a hybrid of a lemon and an orange and originated in China. And if you want a sweet lemon, every house needs a lemonade. The fruit is so gorgeous to eat like an orange, and it peels so easily. You can eat it at this time of the year, but it sweetens as the months go on. So this fruit is perfect to harvest about Christmas time, and it's a small, compact tree, so it's fantastic for small gardens. The best thing about lemon trees is they tell you what's wrong with them. They are really easy to fix when something goes wrong. First thing, if rootstock's taking over, this is the indicator. You'll get thorny branches that are sort of gnarled, and the fruit is really knobbly and it doesn't taste good at all. That needs to be cut out. If you've got yellow mottled leaves, that's a nutritional deficiency. And if the tree suddenly drops all its fruit and its leaves, it often indicates stress in some way. Now, like all gardening, what we need is to improve the soil. Citrus are a little finicky when it comes to watering and soil. And if we've got really strong, healthy soil that's full of microbes, the tree's going to be fantastic, and it's going to result in beautiful, tasty fruit. Start applying Troforte M fruit and citrus this spring and you'll be amazed at the difference. It's a controlled release formula, but also contains all the beneficial microbes that will work on the soil, which in turn will work with the minerals in this formulation to ensure they're absorbed by the plant. Now we apply it every 6 months, now and again at the beginning of autumn. And if you feel like you want to apply through summer, go right ahead, as it's not going to burn anything by applying too much. Don't forget to water in well to activate the microbes. They need to get to work immediately. If you have a citrus tree and you've got absolutely no idea what it is, well, what you do is pluck a leaf and crush it, and the volatile oils released will tell you exactly what variety it is. An orange, well, it's a dead giveaway. And a lemon, well, I can smell the lemon meringue pie already.
Swan Valley Nursery's herb of the week is watercress. This is a low-growing biennial plant, which means it can last for up to 2 years. And it's got very shiny, attractive, peppery flavoured foliage. If you happen to be an Aussie from New Zealand, then you'll immediately recognise this super fast-growing vegetable as a key ingredient of a pork boil-up, almost the national dish of New Zealand. High in vitamin C and minerals, this is of great value when we need to build up our immunity. You can grow watercress in the garden, in pots, or even hanging baskets. But if you happen to have a pond, the easiest possible way is to drop the plant into a net pot and put it out on the water. This is a plant that I did just that too 3 weeks ago, and look at this root system. It's going berserk. If you have fish in the pond, they'll feed your watercress. In the garden, feed regularly all year round with power feed and sea salt. It's a good idea to cut off flowers whenever you see the buds emerging, and also prune back hard in autumn or spring if it's getting too large. Other uses in the kitchen include stir fries, soups, stews. They work beautifully with lightly cooked vegetables, and of course bacon and ham are just perfect combinations. However, this is my first taste of a boil up, and this is pretty yummy. And you know, bro, they are so easy to grow.
The show of spring flowering bulbs is absolutely worth it. They're fantastic. What we tend to do as gardeners is ignore them after they've finished flowering. But once the flowers are finished, the most important thing to do is keep feeding them, because that way the bulb's developing the embryo for next year's flowering.
Well, it's that time of the year. The weather's warming up and we're getting those inevitable questions like, what sort of plants should I be growing around my swimming pool? And whilst I can help you with those questions, I can't help you with the how do I keep my pool looking fantastic question, because that's what the experts do. So to get the right advice, I'm going to my local specialist, WA Pool Warehouse. WA Pool Warehouse are a pretty impressive outfit. Located in Perth, they have 7 outlets servicing the metro area. They've grown quickly to service the state because they've got the biggest and best range of pool care options. Most importantly, they know their stuff, which is why I dropped around Pool Farmer's place to get the rundown on how to have a beautiful pool in a beautiful garden. So, Paul, introducing organics into pool water is not a good idea, is it?
It's not the best idea. The best thing to do is try and keep as many leaves out of the pool as what you possibly can. Makes it much easier to look after in the long run.
And part of the reason for that is obviously the organics going in leaf litter. It's full of phosphates. It means that you have to spend a lot more time sanitising the water again, so it's costing you money. So when it gets to design, it's really a good idea to keep the plants and the pool separated, right?
That's right, Trevor. So plants and pools, they're not really suited to each other. So the more you can keep your plants and your grass away from the pool, the better.
Yep.
Less leaf matter going into your pool, less grass clippings, makes your pool much easier to look after.
For those of us with pools, this is a critical time, and we take the water from a winterised state to a ready-to-swim state. The most important thing to do is to get your water tested up front.
Most pool shops these days run what's called a spin disc machine, which tests 10 different parameters in pool water chemistry. So the best thing to do is take your pool water into your local pool store, test for everything you need, gives you a printout and tells you exactly what to do. It's all about balance, so you've got to make sure your pH is right, using acid to make sure the chlorine is being killed at a high rate.
Yep.
So it kills bacteria very, very quickly when the pH is within range.
Stabiliser's a really important thing, isn't it? Because it's kind of like sunscreen.
That's exactly what it is. So it protects your chlorine from being burned off by the UVs of the sun, and it is effectively a sunscreen for your pool.
The other really important thing is phosphate remover. That's a big problem, isn't it, if you don't do something about it?
It's a big problem. So we've all heard of phosphates. Phosphates in the water is a food source for algae, and no one wants a food source for algae in your pool. So use phosphate remover. Remove all your phosphates, keep your pool looking good.
And if you're wondering what I've done with my garden, well, I haven't exactly followed the rules, but I've used a particular strategy, and that is to use big leaves. So I've used golden cane palms, and I've also used philodendrons. These are very easy to keep out of the water, and that reduces that problem of build-up of phosphates in the water. There's also strappy leaf plants that can be fantastic. Things like mondo grass and dietes are really good in and around a pool. And if you're looking for a list of the best plants for pool plantings, check out our website. If you want some advice on getting the best results out of your pool this summer, check out WA Pool Warehouse's website.
One of my favourite ways to get creative in the garden is to upcycle old pieces of scrap metal and antiques. Now, this is just a really fun example. So this was an old barbecue which I've turned into a raised garden bed by attaching a few metal legs, and I've planted it with a few things. So let's start with this center. This is a beautiful lavender, and it's completely covered in bees at the moment. And then just on the other side of it, I've got just an everyday strawberry, which I put in a few months ago, and it's taking off, starting to fruit. So that's always very nice. And then on this side here, we've got quite a special little plant. It's called the alpine or wild strawberry. And what makes this one a little bit different to the common varieties is that it grows, one, more mounded, and it grows really nice in small, tight spaces. So it's really good for small pots or those sort of hard to grow areas. And then it also produces tiny little fruit, which are just a little bit bigger than a green pea, which tastes like candy. So this one's great for the kids. So there you have it, a really simple, easy way to reuse old items lying around the house. So if you've got an old antique and you thought, what can I do with that? Why not turn it into a stunning garden display?
This Caprosma Gold Splash is a bit of a sentimental favourite in my garden because I had a role in bringing this plant into Western Australia many years ago. It's a great performer in a full sun position like this, growing to around about 2 metres high, and it looks great all year round.
There is such a sense of achievement growing plants by cutting pieces that are started off about 10 to 12 centimetres long. It is so easy to do, and it's the ideal solution if you're looking for hard to find plants or the budget doesn't quite stretch so far as to fill up the whole garden. And this time of the year, late spring or summer, is the time to get stuck into growing cuttings. This is because most plants have flowered and are now in the active growth phase. When the plants shoot past their flowers, it's ideal and they're not moisture stressed. If you try in winter, plants aren't actively growing enough and the cuttings usually rot before the weather is sufficiently warm enough for the cuttings to start growing. Now's the time to grab the secateurs and start collecting. About 10 to 12 centimetres is ideal, and when we trim it off, this new growth can't wilt. And if it does, we tip that out, because otherwise it won't grow at all. It's just too soft. We need to let that harden off a little bit more. We trim off the bottom leaves, strip them in half, and anything that's got larger leaves than this, just chop them in half. Otherwise the cutting will lose too much moisture. And that's it. The quality of the propagating mix is just as important as the health of the parent plant you're taking the cuttings from. An Osmocote seed and cutting mix is ideal both for cuttings as well as germinating seeds. It has just enough fertiliser that will deliver nutrients to the roots as they're growing but won't burn the new plants. It also contains koi peat. Now koi peat has been a revolution. It's been around for many years, but what it's done is save the peat bogs of the world. It has fantastic re-wetting properties and holds moisture around the roots, but not too much so the plants won't rot. Always prepare 50% more cuttings than the number of plants you think you need. And if the end you get too many plants, well, you can always give them away. Use hormone gel or a solution of 1 tablespoon of honey to 2 tablespoons of water and dip the base of cuttings in. Water in and let drain. Cover the cuttings with a plastic bag. Ziploc bags are perfect because the heavier plastic tends to keep it more upright away from the foliage. One of the most important things is to make sure there's air movement around the cuttings. So just a little hole in the top will create a mini greenhouse environment. Store this somewhere where it's light but not in direct sunlight, because otherwise the little cutting will burn. And when you start to see roots coming out the bottom of the pot, it's time to repot it. So important to use a premium potting mix. Divide the cuttings up, put them back into pots about this size, let them grow on, and then they can go into the garden.
As spring unfolds in our garden, plants get growing faster in most cases than at any other time of the year. In order to fuel that growth and flowering too, our plants need food. For the last 60 years, we all automatically think fertiliser. In 2020, it's time to hit the pause button. High nitrogen synthetic fertilisers and high applications of phosphates have damaged and degraded agricultural, horticultural and even home garden soils. So we need to rethink how we feed our gardens. And leading the way in Australia are regenerative farmers. The essential message is we need to move towards more organic nutrients to avoid overuse and to work with nature rather than try to dominate her. Seasol have led the way, not only in home gardens, but also in commercial food growing, with the use of seaweed extracts, which work more like a tonic to improve plant health rather than a straight food. A new combination plant food from sea salt goes a long way to addressing the need to work with nature to nurture soil life instead of damaging it. Power feed with Treforte All-Purpose, including natives, has a rich organic base. It delivers a unique balance of slow and quick-release nutrients to all vegetables, fruit, ornamentals and flowering plants, even lawns and phosphate-sensitive natives, to promote vigorous, healthy growth. All the basic nutrients are there, as well as trace elements to stimulate flowering and fruiting. Well, the bits I like best are the rock mineral granules, which are coated organically with up to 24 strains of beneficial Australian cultured microbes. Now, these microbes help to build soil structure, and that enables those tiny microscopic air spaces to develop, and this is a measure of healthy soil. The microbes also assist plants to access nutrients and moisture within the soil. It works with nature, not against. A big thumbs up from me.
When it comes to succulents, it's hard to beat the foxtail agave. Look at the architectural structure of the plant. It looks like this all year round, but once every few years, it'll produce a magnificent flower, and you can see how it gets its name, foxtail. It looks just like one. Now, down the bottom here, we've got all flower buds about to open, and up here, white creamy flowers full of bees. They love the nectar. It's a good source of food for them this time of the year. But down here, all the seed is now set, and each one of these will open up to be a brand new little plant. You'll quite literally get hundreds and hundreds of plants from this one huge flower. Foxtail agave. They are superb. Now's the time to put it into your garden. One of the biggest trends in recent times has been the move back to having plants indoors. There's a huge body of work that suggests that having plants indoors dramatically improves the quality of the air we breathe. But there's also an intangible benefit that's difficult to quantify, and that's the mental health benefits plants indoors and out have on our psyche. And one person who understands this more than most is my friend and the CEO of the Breast Cancer Research Centre of WA, Carmelo Arto. Carmelo, the work that your team does is amazing. Tell us about it.
Well, we're one of the busiest breast cancer trials units in Australia. We're currently running 33 trials, and we run pharmaceutical trials. So patients get access to treatments that sometimes others haven't got access to for 5 to 7 years. Wow. So essentially in this building now, we've got more surgeons, more oncologists, more psychologists and geneticists. So we now have key players in the breast cancer space all in the one building, with radiology downstairs, with Perth Radiological Clinic and Genesis Care, and patients have got most of what they need within this building, and we've also got 4 breast care nurses. The environment's very important to our patients because a lot of people at first diagnosis, it's quite a stressful situation. Sometimes they come in with their partner and their family, so the whole family's involved. We need to create a calming environment that we can minimise the stress. We can make it as comforting as possible, and that's what all our people are about. They're all patient-focused and creating an environment that's as good as we can make it for when the patients come in. And I've actually been growing sort of roses for the last 3 to 5 years. A lot of them are bicolour and fragrant roses, so that also adds to the atmosphere. And I bring those in on a daily basis now that they're blooming. So and patients love it. That's what we're all about. It's really about what's going to lead to the best outcome for breast cancer patients, and anything we can do in that regard is what we're... and the plants and the environment plays a big part in that.
This is an incredible organisation doing some really important work in our community. So we at the Garden Gurus wanted to help, and we asked some of our friends to help as well, Banara Nurseries, and they backed us with some spectacular indoor plants. Ficus are great indoor plants, but outdoors they turn into giant trees. The Norfolk and Lord Howe Islands have some beautiful palms, and the Kintia is a worldwide hit because it does so well in low light conditions, and it's tough, but it's always graceful. Dracaena colorama is another great plant with its striking bright colours used to brighten up any space. and also people's moods. Well, that's all we've got for you this week. I hope you enjoyed the show. Now, the good news is we're back next week. We've got another brilliant program. I'm Trevor Cochran. We're back next week with all the gang for another great episode of The Garden Gurus. See you then.